Why don't we start off with Cory and Taylor? Word on the street is that these two are going through it right now, and they might have actually full blown broken up. If you go on Instagram to see who they're following, you'll find that they have unfollowed each other. So this is Taylor's Instagram page. I typed in Cory, trying to see if I would find this man, but nope, nobody was found. And when you type Taylor on the people that Cory is following, you see a bunch of Taylors, none of whom are his baby mamas. So it's not looking too great over here. And I gotta say, I'm not all that surprised. On the last season of Teen Mom Next Chapter, we saw her quite literally begging this man to marry her, which, no offense, but is a little bit embarrassing, especially when you've got two children by the man and he already came with another child that you've stepped up to help him raise, right? Whenever the child is with you and he still doesn't want to marry you, girl, right? And then we also saw her a couple of months ago on social media. She was making all kinds of hints about, again, being pissed off that she still wasn't engaged to this man that she's been with for almost a decade, has multiple children by, has stepped up to help him with his child by another woman. Like, honestly, I would be so happy for Taylor if she was finally fed up with this situation, because it's not okay in my personal opinion, right? Cory did kind of like hint at, maybe going through some things at the moment when he shared this song on his Instagram stories. Just this morning, right? So it's a kind of like a melancholic song by Lil Wayne, and the lyrics that he was sharing in particular were "Let it all work out." So it kind of feels like, listen, maybe they're not fully broken up, maybe they're just going through a rough patch, but something is definitely going on between Cory and Taylor at this very moment. And I gotta know, what do y'all think? Do y'all think she finally put her foot down about this? I gotta ask you guys, if you have to put your foot down, if you have to pop out two kids, take care of your man's child by another woman, right? And if you have to beg him for like years to marry you, even if he does eventually propose, would you still be happy? Would you, still want to walk down the aisle with someone like that had to go through all that to be with you? Like, there's been so many people, right, who have gotten into these relationships and gotten married, right, met and married within these people dating, right? They've been dating for so long. Like, I know people who got together like, maybe like 2020, 2021, 2022, right? 2023, who are already either engaged or married to the person that they started dating. So I am right. And no kids involved. They didn't have to pop out kids either, right? Or beg for anything. Like, it just happened within a year and a half, 2 years. So I imagine, right, that when you're seeing all these people go about things like much easier than you have, right? And they are not going through the whole, let me have kids with this person, let me raise them on my own while this person's out here doing these adult field trips for work and whatnot. Like, yeah, that's going to piss you off eventually. I'm just saying. Kate says, good morning. Good morning, Kate. Nice to see you. Ali says, Teen Mom's trying to secure the next season. Maybe that's what it is. Don't forget that Cory did go on his Snapchat and announce that he believes that Teen Mom Next Chapter is going to be either put on pause or it's going to be moved to another network, right? The viewership just isn't there anymore. It's not all that damn interesting, like same storylines over and over and over. So maybe this is something that they've got to do to try and spice things up at this point. But, like Deshauna says, I wouldn't be surprised if it were real. Like, listen, she has put in time, hard time, right, for this man, and he just does not seem to appreciate it. And I also didn't like the way where on the last season of Teen Mom Family Reunion, when she was crying about this like lack of engagement and whatnot, he was like doing these fake proposals and whatnot to her. And it's like, okay, that's like a humiliation ritual that you're doing, right? Which is just not cool at all, in my opinion. Good morning, Baltimore, stand up. Okay, Shanta. Okay, Miss Batty. Nice to see you, boo. Today's gotcha day. He's at work with me to celebrate. Oh, that's so sweet. So sweet. Oh my God. I love like how like this community is all about animals as well, especially dogs. Listen, sorry to the cat lovers, but like I love that we love dogs around here. Good morning, Mariah. Nice to see you. So what do y'all think, y'all? Oh, Annie got blocked by Taylor. What did you do to get blocked by Taylor on Instagram because I said her caption was in poor taste after the car accident. What did she say? Oh, she was talking about bullets. And so you told her it was in poor taste and she blocked you. Damn, she could have just like deleted your comment or just like, ignored it or something like that. To full blown block you is crazy. Tadisha says giving him one child and then two and still no ring would be my deal breaker. I don't see how Taylor lasted this long. It's a no for me. Same here. I really wish that women would stop doing this. Like, if you want to get married, right? Because there are women who do not want to get married. And so if that is the case, then go ahead, pop out your kids and, have a great time. But if you want to get married, do not put the cart before the horse with this thing, because then you kind of feel like trapped and stuck because now you can't walk away as easily, right? When children are involved and whatnot. And so I think that that's something that has kept her in this relationship longer than she probably would have stayed in it without the children and whatnot. It's just, I really hate to see it for my girls. Kate says Taylor deserves better. And I agree, and the sad thing is she should have wanted better for herself. She should have demanded better for herself. Like, all of this stuff was in her control. Like, why go and pop out not one, but two kids with a man who from the very beginning has told you he doesn't believe. And this is kind of like Nikki Bella and John Cena, right? They get with these men who from the very beginning tell them they do not want marriage, right? Cory, we knew he wanted children and he had a child, whatever. But if a man tells you he doesn't want marriage and you want marriage, what are you doing? What are you doing? Right? Like, so I wish that she chose somebody else who was on her same wavelength. Why negotiate with somebody when somebody else who wants the same thing that you want is already out there? And yes, Tyrell, you know what? I was missing you guys so much this weekend too. I wanted to pop in, but I still was not feeling well at all this weekend. So that's why I couldn't pop by with any videos. Mariah says Taylor doesn't have a backbone to stand on. No man is worth begging to marry you, period. Cory should be begging her to marry him. The way that she stepped up for his daughter and the way that she steps up for the children that they share together as well when he goes away for work is just priceless. Truly, truly priceless, right? Especially when one of your children has serious health issues. Like, she is managing all that pretty much on her own. And she was talking about being burnt out and feeling like the primary parent and all of this. So you have somebody who's raising your kids for you, right? And you're just popping in here and there to, like, be a support to her. And and she's the one begging you to marry her. Like, that is crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. V says, F that, take his MTV money and go be with a new man. I agree, right? Come on, girl. I still think that she can get somebody better, right? Like, she's still, it's still possible for her to find somebody else, two children or not, she's going to be fine. And so I hope that she knows that it's okay to walk away. When you're fed up, go ahead and walk away. You will be just fine, especially if you're doing the majority of the child rearing anyway. So it's like, what is she really going to lose out on? Not much. Wasn't this guy also like talking about how he doesn't like to say that he loves her and whatnot, like all this other really weird stuff? Like, that was a big issue in their relationship as well. Like, go find yourself a man who will marry you, a man who will tell you he loves you, right? Because what is this? Same here, Allie. I do not understand the girls. What are the girls doing in these situations? Like, what is this? I don't think he's going to marry her. She already gives him all. Exactly, right? Why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? I think that that's what this situation really does come down to at this point. No offense to Taylor, but I think that she played herself at this point in her life. Oh, is that what this is? Memorial Day weekend. Well, happy Memorial Day to my American viewers. Happy Memorial Day, y'all. So nice that you guys get a nice long weekend to go ahead and celebrate. And I think the weather is pretty good in the majority of the US today as well. So I think that's, you guys have it made this weekend. I'm really happy for you guys. Congratulations. What do you guys typically do? Do y'all barbecue for Memorial Day? Like, what do you guys get up to? If you don't want to get married, you don't have to. This isn't the 90s. Exactly. And that's why I said, listen, if you don't want to get married, go ahead and go down this route. But if you do, it's not the wisest choice, because at this point, you give the guy all of the power, and that's just not wise. Acacia says Taylor thought she was different. He treated Cheyenne the exact way when she wanted to be with him. That's why she moved on with Zach. Exactly. And this is something we always say, on this channel, which is you're not special, right? And it's not in like a derogatory way. It's just in a way that when you see the way a man treats another woman or women in general, don't walk into that mess and it's negative. Do not walk into that mess head first thinking that he's going to change for you, because you're not special. He's not going to change for you. He's not. That is just who he is. You know, you are special, I should say, but not enough to change a grown man. This is a grown man. He knows who he is. He knows what he wants. He knows what he doesn't want. It's similar to you guys, right? We all know who we are at this point in our lives. At least I would hope so. We all know what we do want, what we do not want, what we will do, what we will not do. And there's nothing anybody can do to change that in us, right? So think about it that way in other people as well. Do not even risk it. Sorry, Taylor. I'm sorry, girl, but you should have played your cards a little bit better. You know, I feel bad for her, but how many years, how many other examples of women going down the same path do people need before they start making different choices in life, right? Now we've got to get into the Jade Cline story of it all. So she's really upset right now. She is pissed at the fact that she was not really featured in this season of Teen Mom Next Chapter. We only got her in a couple of episodes here and there. Maybe she got a grand total of like 4 episodes all season. And so typically when you're on Teen Mom Next Chapter, you're paid per episode that you appear in. And so with her not appearing in several episodes, she lost out on quite a bit of money. So shout out to the Ashley's Reality Roundup for this tea, because she was talking about this on the Snapchat, and I'm not really on the Snapchat like that, though I should be, right? So Jade took to the app to share her thoughts about the season. And so she said that she had actually filmed a lot of content, you guys. And she's mad because when you film all that content, you're putting your real jobs on hold, right? So she's got this hair salon that she runs. She's got a real estate career. You know, she could have done some other influencing stuff, you know, during this time that she was filming. And then only about 1/4 or even less than that of Jade's footage was actually used. And so now she feels as though all of the time and effort went to waste, which I do agree, right? Because she doesn't get paid for the footage that was not aired. So listen, Jade, I would be pissed as well if I were you. And I gotta say, I'm actually quite surprised that her storyline was not used that much. But at the same time, not really, because what was her main storyline this season? It was her mom, Big Gulp. Her mom, Big Gulp Christie, was relapsing again. And so it was very chaotic. They held this sort of intervention for her and everything. And the last time we saw her, she walked off screaming from the intervention at Jade's house, right? And maybe Big Gulp refused to continue filming with Jade and whatnot, talking about the situation. And so they were no longer able to talk about that. Jade and Sean also had this kind of like, do they or do they not want to have more baby situation? But then Cheyenne and Zach, you know, they went from having that storyline, the do we or do we not want more kids, to this season trying to have kids and then having issues conceiving. So that was already a storyline somewhere else. So that leaves not that much opportunity for Jade to really kind of like shine here. And so I'm not surprised that they ultimately wound up kind of dimming her from this season. Although it is disappointing. I feel like she's got a lot more things going on in her life. For example, the real estate stuff. So we know that she's in real estate. We saw her work towards that last season, but we never actually got to see her sell a house, show a house, anything of the sort. And I think that would have been interesting to see her do something, right? Like an actual, you know, traditional job outside of filming for the show. It would have been very encouraging potentially for viewers of the show, you know, who are maybe also trying to figure out what they want to do for a career in the future, right? Kiki says, I don't understand why Jade needed to take time off to film. Isn't it supposed to film her life? What are you filming the script? Well, I'm thinking that perhaps, you know, she wouldn't be like, maybe some clients, for example, on the real estate side, maybe some people did not want to be filmed, you know, viewing homes or this or that. But I still think that they could have been able to recreate these things, you know what I mean? Or maybe some clients at the salon, they didn't want to be filmed. I'm not going to lie to you guys. When I'm at the salon, I feel like the ugliest person on the planet. I feel like a bald rat, you know, when I get lifted out of that shampoo bowl or whatever, the wash bowl, and they're drying my little like 2 strings of hair or whatever. I'm like, I cannot imagine being filmed under those circumstances. So I can understand, you know, her clients at the salon not really wanting to be filmed. But I feel like she could have filmed even with her co-workers at the salon or like the other salon people or something like that, you know. But I think that ultimately the problem is that the content just wasn't compelling. They filmed, right? They filmed with her. However, it just was not compelling enough. It did not fit into the overall theme of the season. And I find that to be rather disappointing because there's so many people who on this show who have had the same old tired storyline for so long, or who hide behind other people for their storylines, right? Like Leah had an amazing storyline this season, and then Gary with his daughter Leah, that was very compelling as well. But Macy, she's still hiding behind Ryan and what he's got going on in his life. I think they could have replaced some of that stuff with maybe some of this other stuff that Jade was going through, right? Good morning, Ramster. Nice to see you, boo. Sherelle says, Jade was from Young and Pregnant, right? Yes, she was. To be honest, they should cancel Teen Mom and bring that show back. The storylines are more interesting. You know, it's funny you say that because this is something that we were talking about. I think it was on Friday's morning report, how when Cory was talking about the show is going to be put on pause, you know, potentially move to a different platform because the viewership is just not there anymore. What did we talk about, you guys? I think we had mentioned, hang on, let me bring your comment back up because I forgot. We had talked about how there were so many interesting people from Young and Pregnant that they could have slowly started funneling, similar to what they did to Jade, what they did with Brianna from Teen Mom 3 and everything like that, to slowly replace the people we have now, right? So that we can transition towards a new cast instead of just boom, abruptly springing a whole new set of people on us and then, you know, giving us that kind of difficulty because we don't have any attachment to these people anymore, right? I would still love to see Rachel Beaver come onto Teen Mom Next Chapter, for example. Ray says they shouldn't blindside a cast member with not knowing what her, I agree with that. Yeah, what her income is going to be that month. It's not right. She should be paid for her time filming, not just based on airtime out of her hands. And I agree. You know, the more you hear about reality television stars complaining, the more you realize how few rights they really have. Because don't forget, even when these shows go into syndication, right? For example, Teen Mom 2 is now syndicated on Netflix, or sorry, is now streaming on Netflix, but they don't get any kind of money out of that, right? So the creators, producers, whatever, they got paid for that. The network got paid for that. But the people whose lives were actually used for the content, they didn't see any extra money from that deal. So reality stars are, you know, they're quite screwed. They're quite unprotected as far as entertainers go. And love them or hate them, that's the majority of the content that people are watching on television these days, right? Reality television has truly, you know, gotten a massive hold on our attention for the past 10 years plus, right? Hey, Michelle, so nice to see you too. Sherelle says, I've never watched a single episode of Next Chapter, and that's how over Teen Mom I am. I think we've all outgrown it. And I kind of think that that's the case too. Like, I've been really trying to, like, you know, keep on it this season, but it's so boring. I've got like 2 episodes to recap that I'm going to get around to, but it was so boring. Even the finale was not all that great. I got to be honest with you guys, but I am looking forward to, especially talking about the way that Amber reacted to Leah's text to her. That disturbed me. I was like shocked, shocked truly by the way that she behaved there. Good morning, Tiffany. Nice to see you. Darrell says, my introduction was Teen Mom 2. I was raising and being with my son before that. Mine was 16 and pregnant in general. You know why? Because I was so big into Zoe 101. And so I dreamed of going to PCA, like, you know, that was my dream, you know? And so when Jamie Lynn Spears, she got pregnant and there were all these articles that came out, then they started comparing it to this show and whatnot. I was like, oh, let me see what the show is all about. And I got hooked from the very beginning because I was around the same age as the girls. Amelia says, I think Big Gulp Christie should get her own spinoff. And I agree. Let's put her on Intervention. Let's put her on something else, you know, My Strange Addiction, like the Big Gulp Machine or something like that. I want to see more of that woman. She really is so fascinating to me, right? You know, I think she makes for really, really good television. And so I'm disappointed that they decided to go ahead and cut out a lot of the content that Jade, you know, filmed with her and with other people discussing her as well. Kiana, oh my God, the baby's cheeky, so cute. That's Bethany. Was saying that they should get residuals. I do agree. I think that reality television stars should be a little bit better compensated. You know, so many of them, you know, put out such great content and it's such raw, true, authentic to them content. And you see them still go broke afterwards because they don't have these good deals on the back end the way that actors do.